Look at all those green note flags in this worksheet. Green note flags. Those appear in the upper left-hand corner of a cell when Microsoft sees something that they think is a problem. Well, sure enough, although these look like numbers, all of these are actually text stored as numbers. If we click the little yield sign, it'll tell us that it's a number stored as text, and we could choose to convert to number, although that would be very, very tedious to go through and do this over and over and over again. Hard to say exactly how this happened. One way is someone used data text to columns and used the text option in step 3. Another way is they wanted the numbers to be as text and they typed an apostrophe before each number, although looking in the formula bar, it doesn't appear that that's what happened this time. These are slightly maddening because if you specifically reference the cell, let me say equal 2 times A1, it gives me an answer. And it appears that it really doesn't matter that it's text. But if I come down below and use the auto sum, Alt equals is the fast way to do that, it has no clue what to sum. And if I specifically say sum these values, it gets a 0. Now it's really dangerous. Imagine if you had 50,000 rows of numbers and somewhere buried in the middle were a couple of text entries, you're going to have the wrong total. Well, Excel experts argue over the best way to solve this problem. I'm going to show you 2 different methods, and you can use whichever method you find easiest. I'm going to delete my total here and come up to a blank cell in cell E1. And I can either type the number 1 or the number 0. Let me type the number 1. Control-Enter to accept the 1, Control-C to copy to the clipboard, and then I'll select all of my values. I'm going to go to the Home ribbon and choose Paste, Paste Special, and again, multiply all of those text values by the number 1 on the clipboard. Choose Values at the top, click OK, and strangely enough, when you multiply a 1 by text that looks like a number, Excel solves the problem. Let me show you that it's working. If I go down to cell A25 and use Alt equals again, Excel now recognizes these as numbers and my formula works. No, it doesn't. See, this is why I hate that text function. Those cells in A1 to A24 were formatted as text, and then because I did something in A25, the text function got copied down to A25. You can see it up in the number group of the Home ribbon that this cell somehow became text. Now, if I change it back to number, it doesn't immediately fix my formula. I basically have to go back and start over. I'm going to hit the delete key to get rid of that formula, and now try Alt equals again. Make sure that it says number up in the drop-down, and Control-Enter, and now I finally have the total. This is another reason not to use that text option in step 3 of text to columns. Those cells that are marked as values will just start spreading throughout your worksheet. The one last annoying problem here is that all of those numbers, because they were formerly text and are now numbers, are glued to the left side of the column. Select those cells, and you can use right align to move them back to where they need to be. Okay, so that's method number 1. I entered in a 1 in an out-of-the-way cell, copied, and then used Paste Special, multiply. Some people will put a 0 in E1, and then we'll use Paste, Paste Special, add. It does the same thing. Again, one of the readers from my website wrote in and said, hey, you keep recommending this particular trick, and there's a much faster way to do it. And I have to admit, they're right. Hit page down, and we'll have an identical copy of the original data set. Select this range that contains text that looks like numbers. We're going to go to the Data tab, choose Text to Columns, and completely ignore everything else. Just click Finish. That's 3 clicks to completely solve the problem. Okay, let's move on.